Hey guys, I'm in my kitchen today and I'm putting together some spice mixes that I normally put together here on the homestead. I don't like buying spice mixes at the store for the simple reason they put in all kinds of stuff that you don't want in your food. All kinds of chemicals, natural flavors, artificial flavors, and things like that. I go to a local Mennonite store that sells spices in bulk and then put together all my spice mixes. So if you're wondering, the two spice mixes I'm making today, one's going to be just a regular spice mix, kind of like an Emeril's old-fashioned spice mix, and then also something for more like Mexican food. I'll put those over at patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead, where you can download that spice mix PDFs for both of those recipes. But right now, there it is. I'm mixing it all together and I'm going off a written recipe given to me years ago. Still using it today. All right, but today what I'm going to do is take you out to the garden, and I'm actually out to my deck at first. And I'm going to show you all the tomatoes that we have growing on the homestead, starting with the small ones and then getting all the way up to the ones that are larger in the garden. So let's go. Over on the deck right now, I've got these. These are Cherokee purple tomatoes, and I'm just kind of keeping them out here. Now, these are really young. I have a much older plants that are out there growing already. But because we have a long growing season and I did not get a lot of my plants out in the garden, some of them, because I was trying to plant early, some of them suffered and did not make it. So I've only got about 25 mature plants out there in the garden. And I like to grow about 50 to 60 plants a year. So because we have a long growing season, I planted some more and they're doing absolutely fantastic. I'll be transferring these into the garden probably in the next, I don't know, week or two, maybe 3. And then they'll be harvested by, August at least, maybe September. We'll be harvesting from these plants for the rest of the late summer. But so that's what I've got right now. These are Cherokee purples. It's still not too late. If you live in like in the South like me, where you have a long growing season, to plant tomatoes and get those started for an August and September harvest. So Cherokee purples, let's move on to something else I have on my deck. This little guy is a small tomato plant, basically a cherry tomato plant, and this is growing well on my deck. And I kind of give it a rotate every so often. I'm getting ready to put a cage around it because it's starting to lean a little bit. It's getting a little bit of top heavy, but there's some more tomatoes growing right there on top of that thing. And so, yeah, this is going to be just a cherry tomato plant that I have outside on my deck that I can come out and pick on when I want, or the kids can come out and pick on and eat on when they want. And so you can see, and I'll talk about this over at the garden, I keep the lower leaves trimmed. And as the plant continues to get bigger, I'll just continue to pluck off leaves. So to give lots of airflow around the plant. But this one's about ready to be caged up, and he's just something I keep on the deck so that I can have a nice little snack during the day, or the kids can have a nice little snack and just eat on it whenever they want. Or I can just pick on it and use it for stuff in the kitchen. Over there are nasturtiums, but we'll do another video another day on those. Now, out here in the garden, I have a number of other tomato plants. These are much bigger, they're much more mature, and some of them have fruit on them, while others of them are putting out different new buds and everything. But they're growing really well. But something, again, I want to point out to you guys is that as these plants get older, I'm keeping all of these lower limbs cleared off. And what that does, it allows airflow to move through here. And by doing that, you're going to get a lot less pests, you're going to get a lot less aphids, you're going to get a lot less fungus issues, things like that. So you always want to keep this open and flowing with air on here. So like right there, that leaf, it's about to touch the ground. That's about to get lopped off. Any leaf on your tomato plant that touches the ground needs to go. So that one's about to get lopped off here pretty soon. I have some other ones that are getting dangerously close to the ground, and those will be cut off as well. So I got up this morning, as I do on most mornings, and I made my coffee because obviously there's priorities, right? And I check out my YouTube, see what's going on my subscribers, and I'm always watching a number of YouTubers who are homesteaders. Living Traditions came up, and I watched their video on aphids, and they were having some issues with aphids. And if you remember, I said the solution that they basically came to about a year ago. I discovered someone in my comments left a comment saying when you're dealing with issues like pest and disease in your garden, one of the best remedies you can use is milk spray. I know it sounds crazy. That's exactly what the commenter said when they left that comment. I know it sounds crazy, but if you put milk, spray milk on your plants that are having issues, it really does amazing things. And it's I have to be careful about how I talk about milk on my channel, because I get a lot of I had a lot of videos removed when I talk about, you know, consuming it. Anyway, all that to say, when you have peach trees with leaf curl, that is an absolute great solution. When you have aphids, it's a great solution. I don't really have a lot of aphid problems here in my garden. I think there was 1 year where we had lots of aphid issues on my tomatoes, and 1 year only. But after that, it wasn't a big deal. But the reason why we don't have a lot of aphid issues out here, especially in the Ozarks, but theirs were obviously inside of a greenhouse, so you can understand probably why they had more issues. But here, one of the things you're going to see all the time, especially in shady areas underneath these plants, is daddy longlegs. Daddy longlegs, their Latin name means aphid sucker. Did you know that? Aphid sucker. Daddy longlegs will clear your land of aphids. And out in the Ozarks, we have a lot of daddy longlegs. So if you give them areas to grow, if you give them areas that they love, shady areas, they love wood. So if you have like wood structures, which we have nearby and some other places, that's where the daddy longlegs will congregate, and they will absolutely clear your land of aphids. So we don't have a lot of issues with aphids out here. But, and I know some of you in the comments right now are writing down below that daddy longlegs are the most venomous spider on the planet. It's not true. It's not true. It's a wives' tale. It's not true. Google it. But every time I mention daddy longlegs in a video, which many times I've done so in the past, there's always somebody in the comment section who tells me that they're the most dangerous spider on the planet. They're not. Their teeth just aren't big enough to pierce your skin, Zach, don't you know? It's a bunch of garbage. Okay, anyway, all that to say, every time I have to mention that, because someone's going to leave a comment. Let me also mention, when it comes to tomatoes, watering. When you water your tomato plants, do not water them every day. I try to water my tomato plants every other day. Sometimes I go 2 days. And the reason why is because if you give them too much water, they will not send down their roots. You want them to vigorously and aggressively send down those roots. And if you water it every day, those roots are really not going to have a need or a desire to search out water and search out nutrients. It's just going to soak up the nutrients that are near the surface of the soil, and they're never really going to go down deep. So I really try to encourage strong growth by only watering them it doesn't matter how hot it is, only watering them every other day, and sometimes every 2 days. And that will encourage more growth. And by doing that, you're going to send those roots down deep. You're going to encourage the growth of a stronger, more healthy plant. And because it's a stronger and more healthy plant, you're not going to have as many pest pressures. You're not going to have as many fungus issues. So people are always like, well, it just looks thirsty, Zach, and the ground is dry around the stem or around the stalk. It needs water. No, it doesn't. Stop babying everything in your life. People leave comments on my channel like, my cats don't kill mice, my chickens don't, eat bugs. Well, it's because you feed them too much. You're like the government. You're creating a welfare state in your garden. Make the plants do what they do. Make them work for their food. Make them drive those roots down deep. We're such babies in our world today. Anyway, all that to say, yes, so I water my plants every other day, or sometimes every other 2 days, and it encourages strong growth. All right, let me show you something else you need to watch out for. Okay, now I usually talk about this every single year, but it's really worth mentioning every year. Right there, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Do you see all those little black dots down there? Those little black dots are poop. Something is pooping on your plant. And whenever you see black dots, whether they're little or big, the bigger the insect that's leaving them, the bigger the poop, right? So whenever you see black dots like that, I hope you can see that. It's hard to see in the sun. You can see, I think you can see it. That means something's on your plant and it's eating your plant. Primarily, it's probably going to be a caterpillar of some sort. And if you look around, you start turning over leaves, you're going to find who is the culprit, and there he is right there. Do you see him? That's the guy. He's eating your plant. Now, it's fine now because he's a little guy and he's not creating that much damage. But that little guy is going to grow into a big guy, and then you're going to be in a world of poop, just like what's being left on your plant. And you don't want to be in a world of poop. If you know what movie that comes from, leave a comment below. Anyway, my point being, guys like that must be removed with the utmost prejudice, because if you leave him be, he's going to destroy your entire existence. You will starve to death because he got his food, but you will get none. Okay, there's some more poop over there, really tiny. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, there's evidence of these guys on the plant. You need to take care of them, get rid of them, and then right now, this time of year, you're going to start seeing these guys show up on your plants, and they're going to grow big. Pretty soon here, the tornado hornworms will be showing up, and they also are very dangerous to your plants. They can do a whole lot of damage. So anyway, I thought I'd come out here today and just give you a rundown on some of my tomato plants. I'm growing Arkansas Travelers this year, Cherokee Purples, and also a couple of baby tomato plants. I'll give you some more updates as the season goes on. I hope you guys are out there growing a garden. Now is the time you need to be growing some food, because the world is a mess. And there's no guarantees that you'll be able to go to the grocery store tomorrow or the drive-thru to feed your pie hole. All right, what do you think? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys are growing in your garden this year. You got a favorite variety? In my area, it's going to be about heat tolerance. Do you have a good heat tolerant tomato? Because we do get dry and we get hot here. We are technically in the South, but it's not Texas. But still, we get hot here. And so the Arkansas Traveler does really well. The Cherokee Purple does really well. This is my first year really growing the Cherokee Purple, and I'm doing so because so many other people have had great success with it. So I'm going to give it a try. Plus, it's a very flavorful tomato. I love eating it. So I'm going to grow that this year and see how it works. But leave a comment below. Let me know which varieties you got going and what else you got going in your garden this year. I will be checking back with you again shortly. All right, guys. Love you. See you next time in the homestead. Bye.
Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com.
Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait.